Wow, this looks nice. I wonder what I'm looking at. Well, actually, I didn't really bring my binoculars, and I really don't know what I'm looking at. But it doesn't matter, I'll show you a binocular effect in Fusion. This effect will be very quick and simple. So basically, I'm adding together a transform, a blur, a camera shake, and a couple of masks to get this effect. So I'm starting with a picture which is sufficiently large in size so I can zoom in. My output resolution will be 1080p. And one way to get to that resolution directly is I can add a crop, control space for my tools, crop tool. This goes directly to my default resolution without changing any settings. Right now I'm looking at the lower left corner. If I put keep centered, I'm cropping a center frame out of this. So by this I automatically have some zoom here already. So, and I have my final output resolution here. I will merge this over a black background and then mask out the shape of the binoculars. So let me add a background node. Oh, and it was merged together by default, but the wrong way. If you have this, if you have accidentally changed background and foreground, you can just press Ctrl T, by the way. Ctrl T, and now the background is indeed on the background. Let me add an ellipse mask. So with the ellipse mask, I can add a soft edge, move it to the side, etc. So with the ellipse mask, you can see where this is going. I'm getting half of my binoculars. And to get the other half, either I could reflect it and use a transform on the ellipse. Here I'm going a slightly different way. Here I'm just creating a second one and use the instance copy for this. I just thought that's another technique I can introduce. I copy the ellipse and then I paste it by using Ctrl-Shift-V instead of Ctrl-V. So Ctrl-V copy, Ctrl-Shift-V is instance copy. You can also see it here in the menu, paste instance. And paste instance is like a normal paste, but you see this green line, and this means that the parameters of my instance copy are all linked to my original one. So if I look at the ellipse left and the copy on the right, then you see that if I change anything on one tool, it automatically gets changed on the other. Now, why would I do this? This way I can decouple the center in the instance. I go to the instance, do a right click, de-instance, and now the center parameter is loose. I can change the center parameter like this, but still all the other parameters are still linked. Now this way I can still change my width and my height and so on. I can go into either copy, change something, and automatically the other copy is affected as well. Now let me also take the opportunity to show you one little more advanced trick. Some of you may have seen my kaleidoscope tutorial where I used expressions before. I will just do this here as well to show you one trick. You don't need to do this if you find it too complicated, but if you like, follow me along and click here, right-click expression. I add an expression to the center variable, and by default you see a point value is added in here. And instead of the default, I will just add 1, 1, and I do a little bit of math here. 1, 1 is, well, it's this corner, but I don't care about this. Instead, I will do a subtraction, minus, and now I will subtract the center coordinate from the other tool. Let me show you how. I use the other tool, ellipse 1 is the name of the tool, dot center gives me the other center coordinate. So this center coordinate is, if I go into the tool, it's currently, well, this value. So 0.5, it will always be 0.5 in y if I stay in the center, and I want to stay in the center, so I only care about the x. And now if I shift x, you see this happening. So 1 minus this value is the center of the other one. So by this simple subtraction here, in the y coordinate, 1 minus 0.5 is always 0.5, so y is fixed. And in the x-coordinate, 1 minus the x-coordinate from this center gives me the x-coordinate reflected at the middle, basically. So this way I can now change the center x-coordinate here and automatically have the two tools linked together like this. Now I can adjust everything the way I want, can adjust the soft edge and so on, so that it looks like binoculars, and then I have this little customizable tool. Now let me go into the merge. In the merge, I have the mask already automatically applied. I can add it to my media out to get it back to the edit page. And all I need to do now is think about my zoom, and perhaps, if you want, add a camera shake and a blur to make it feel a bit more like handheld binoculars. So after the media in, let me add a transform, XF for transform, or you can get it from here, doesn't matter. And in this transform, I can maybe bring this into the center and animate this if I like. For example, I think over 2 seconds I want to zoom into this position, so I just set a keyframe here on the center and on the size, and then I can, towards frame 0, move out a bit, maybe till here, and perhaps even move the center a bit. Maybe I'm starting from here. That's fine. So this way I have the zoom in. The second part I can do is I can add a blur. I can think about where I want to put it. I can put it in the beginning, I can put it at the end. I think in this case I put the blur after the crop, and the reason that I'm putting it after is that with the crop I'm reducing my frame size, and the blur this way is only calculated on the smaller frame size. So it won't matter much here, but for performance reason it makes usually sense to do it on your frame size and not on a larger size than necessary. So I can use the blur, and at the beginning, let's say we are starting with a sharp picture, I put it to 0, animate it, and then when we are fully zoomed in here, maybe my blur goes to maximum. I have zoomed in without adjusting the focus, and then a little bit after, maybe 1 second later, I have again adjusted my focus to a perfectly clear picture, if that is what you are aiming for. One last thing, I assume that I'm not holding my binoculars steady, so I will also add a camera shake. The camera shake I will add in the beginning, and I'm even adding it before my zoom transform. And my idea is that my hand is always shaking the same way, but if I zoom in, the shake will automatically be amplified by the zoom. So that's why I put the shake first and the zoom in the transform afterwards. So here I'm adding the camera shake. Camera shake. And I want to use this camera shake here. So last week I created a dedicated tutorial for the camera shake. If you like, feel free to check it out. But this time I'm just maybe reducing the motion scale a bit and make the pan and tilt similar. And of course this is up to your taste, and you can just run it and see how far it goes and adjust the parameters. Great, done. This is the effect. If you like, feel free to play around with the shake and the transforms and the blur and so on, and you can make it perfect. Feel free to download my solution from the website if you want to look at my parameters. Otherwise, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. For more on the camera shake, check out this little video, and thanks for watching. See you next time.